Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, today we're going to be building the Takom Blitz 1/35 scale Panzer III M. And the Blitz series is a lesser part count kit, so a little bit easier to put together, hence the name Blitz, a little bit faster that you could put the kit together on. Now, this kit came out a couple of months ago, and we wanted to get building on it right away, but a bunch of other projects got in the way, and now we're actually going to build this kit up. Now, there's also been two other videos that just came out too. The first one was on building link and length tracks, and the tracks are actually out of this kit. So there'll be a little bit of that video put in here just to kind of show you. If you haven't seen it, you can watch the entire complete thing. It was just a couple videos back. Plus, we also have a diorama base that we built up for this, which you can technically use to any type of 35th scale vehicle, but we designed it with this particular vehicle in mind. It's supposed to look like Kursk. So it's, like I said, not a super difficult kit, not too many parts. It was a lot of fun building, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off building the lower hull. And as you can see right here, it is a bathtub style hull. And you'll also notice I've assembled one whole side of the of this lower hull. And what I'm going to basically do now is we do that always just to make sure everything goes together the way we want before we start filming. First of all, there are little tiny pins on each one of the arms here, suspension arms, so it'll lock into place, and it'll also have a little pin on the other side of the hull to get it just right. So once you lock both sides of those in, it'll hold it perfectly into place, which we will go ahead and glue this one actually in right now. Just like that, and that will get locked in, and that way you get the proper angle on it. And then of course, once that gets put into place, we can go ahead and put the little suspension arm here too. That will lock in there and there. And of course, just a little touch of glue there. So overall, building the very lower part of the hull here is going to be very, very simple. It's designed to be quick and easy. We've got the transmission cover right here, ready to go on, just like that. And then we also have assembled up the drive sprocket, which will get put into place. Don't glue that though, because these are the link and link types tracks. So we want to make sure this stays movable so we can get those on just the way we want. The road wheels are a two-part, like most tanks are, and it is just a pin inside there that locks the other side. You do have to be careful, I should say, that you get both of them to actually measure up so they're not crooked at all. But as long as you keep an eye on that as you're building it, you shouldn't have any problem with it. And then those will just get glued right into place over it. And the final thing is the arm that holds the idler wheel in the back. That is going to get glued. Yeah, just like it should go just like that. Yeah, just like in that in place. So what I'll do, and then of course the return rollers are a two-part as well up there that we'll put on all three of those. So obviously very easy to put this together. I'm going to go ahead and put all these on. It'll probably take you a grand total. It takes, I think, longer to cut them out and sand them all than it actually does to assemble them. So it's probably maybe a total of like an hour's worth of work to do the entire bottom. So I'm going to take care of that right now, and then we're going to come back and move on to the next step. Okay, you can see we've got all of the lower parts on other than the rear idler wheel, and which we are gluing into place. Because it's smooth, we don't have to worry about having to rotate it at all. The tracks will wrap right around it. And like I was telling you earlier, we can actually just put this into place. More than likely, we're just going to leave it off for right now because we aren't going to glue it till the actual tracks go on. Now, with that being done, now we can start working on all the accessory parts for the front and rear of the hull. Now we're going to build up the back portion of the tank, and we've got this rear plate already assembled. We put the little toe brackets on there, and basically this will get glued into place, but it's a pretty good tight fit, so it kind of snaps in there. But of course, we'll glue it in a few minutes there. Then we have this lower portion. The reason I'm showing you this whole little build area here is I've never actually put one together that was built this way, so it's kind of a cool way to show it off. So you can either have the vents open or closed. So I've attached one here closed, so obviously we'll close the other one as well, but wanted to show you that you do have the option. And then once you get that into place, you go ahead and glue this rear portion of the deck on. And it all fits together very, very well. And of course we're going to glue it in a few seconds there and get that going, and then we can start working on the track portion. Now the tracks themselves are a link and link track. As you can see here, this is the big top portion I just cut off. That'll get glued into place like that. We've got a big length for the bottom down there, and then we have to start working all the little individual tracks around the idler and of course the drive sprocket. But I'm going to get all this assembled back here first, and we'll come back, and after I get all the tracks sanded, we can start working on those. Okay, so we're going to take a look at first the instructions and see how they spell it out for you here. So you can see we have got one long piece of track across the top here, and then we've got 11 individuals over here, another smaller piece of length track, an individual long piece, and then all the way around just like that. So what we're going to do now is show you how you can put these together pretty quickly and easily, all on making one giant piece of track. First thing you want to do, determine where the front of the track is. So on this right here, I've put kind of a little bit of arrow on the track. This is the front. This is going to head towards the front of the tank. And we're going to flip this around just like this to show you. So this piece will fit just like this in here. And you want to find the three little bumps that are going to correspond to the return rollers. Now normally I would tell you not to go ahead and glue in the drive sprocket on a kit, because it's going to help you with the ability to move the track slightly, that if it doesn't line up just the way you want. But the way Takom has made this, they've put a little pin inside of here that if you glue that pin into there, that the track lines up really, really well. So for this particular build, we're going to go ahead and actually just glue that drive sprocket right into place. And you can see, we'll put some glue on it in a minute here, and you just want to spin it till it clicks. And that is the spot that we want for the track. So it's going to line up that the tooth is going to end up just right there. So the next piece of track is going to grab that first tooth. So let me show you how we're going to work on this. So we know this piece goes just like that. So we're going to leave that there temporarily, and then we're going to put together the first 11 pieces of track right here that are going to wrap around the drive sprocket. Okay, I'm going to show you kind of zoomed in here how we put these together. First of all, if you can get a hold of these type of tweezers right here that have the bend in them, it is going to help tremendously. Especially you can see when we grab the tracks just like this, it's a natural angle to want to put the next track into place. So if you can get those, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort. First thing we're going to use is Tamiya extra thin cement. So we want to put just a little bit right on the inside of the tooth there, and then we're going to line it up to that piece and just push the two together. So it's pretty simple, and we're just going to go down the line putting a little bit of cement on each one. And you don't have to wait for, in fact you don't want these to dry at all actually. You want to just keep going down the line and keep adding the track segments. And at this portion of the build of the tracks, we really don't matter which way the track is going, just as long as you get the correct number of them. So let me get the 11 of these tracks built that we need, and I'm going to show you how it adds on to the next segment. Okay, so now we've got our top length of tracks. We have not let these dry at all. They're still super flexible. We've taken them right off the thing and then turned it right over. So this way we can get the track to start lining up. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on right there and get those situated into place. Now once we get that far right there, what I like to do is take the model cement and brush one thin coat down both sides of the track. And this is going to keep the tracks all stuck together, and it's also going to add a little bit of extra glue into the areas that we may not have put too much on there. and that way they'll start to set up and we got a little bit extra time. So still moving right along here. I'm going to move that out of the way. We're going to take our next piece, which is the other little length of track. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that and get that little piece put into place. Now the instructions call out that we need to add, and I'm going to flip this around just for ease because I'm right-handed, so it's going to make it easier to get this on. We have one more individual piece. Get that one in. I'm going to move this off here. Now we're taking the other long piece of track. And we're going to put that right in there just like that. And you can see we're building one giant piece of track right now, but it's still wet with the glue. So we're going to let this dry just for a little bit of time, and then we can keep adding these other segments onto it here. So we know we need one more individual on this side. Just like that. The other length of track that goes up the back of the tank. And then we need to do 9 individual pieces that are going to do that. So I'm going to do that off camera really quick so we can get that moving with the camera out of the way, and then I'm going to show you how all this will just kind of wrap together. Okay, it's only been about probably about a minute and a half, and we still have some flexibility in these tracks, so we're going to put a little glue on that side. These are the 9 individual segments that we put in, or put together I should say, and we are going to attach those as well. Now, here comes the patience part we need to do. We need to actually let all of this dry for about 2 or 3 minutes. And what I'm going to do is, so everything kind of dries at the same pace, I'm going to go down the line and brush a little bit more of the liquid cement, a light amount. We're not putting super heavy, just on any of the areas where the track was connected. And you can still kind of see in the areas where the track is mated up. Sometimes it gets a little bit harder than others. So now I do have one extra track too, and this is because the instructions called out 11 and 9 on the other side, but I found on the other side of the track that I built for this kit that it actually took an extra link in the back. So let's let this sit for about 2.5, 3 minutes, and then I'm going to show you how we just wrap it right around the tank. We've let the track set up now for a little bit of time. I've also flipped it back around too, so the track was going the right way, because remember I had to flip it the first time because I'm right-handed and the camera's in the way. So we know that this is the very back portion of the track. So we can take it just like this, get it to line up in all those pieces, and then let it click right into the right spot. And we can just take this track and just wrap it just around, making sure it goes in each one of those little sections, and then finally the last little piece goes right up around just like that. We have all the tracks together now, and also we have a video that just came out a few days earlier this with a little bit more in-depth look at how to put these tracks together, or tracks in general. If you want to check that out, you can. It's just a couple days earlier. Now we're going to start working on the upper hull. And this is what I was talking about in the video too, where we said there's not a lot of room and sometimes it's better just to glue the tracks in place. And you can see once you get the fenders on here, it'd be kind of difficult sliding that track all the way back on, especially all painted up. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and attach this upper portion of the hull to the lower, plus put all of these side panels on. Molded it as these side panels here are for different variants, so they can change it out. And then we're also going to put all of these covers on the back here. There's actually 5 of those that we need to finish up sanding, getting those on there. So let me go ahead and get these pieces into place, and we'll show you the next step. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of the little parts on here. I did put the jack in place, and the wheels are just set in place here. We can remove those at any time, but I left the rest of the tools off. Those are way easier to paint actually off the vehicle and then put them on later. The jack's going to get painted body color, so that's not going to matter. And the last little thing we're going to do on this portion is we're going to attach this part that we've already built up, and it kind of like clicks into place. It's very, very tight fit and kind of snaps in there, and then once that gets put on, we can go ahead and put the spaced armor on as well, and it'll fit just like that right there. And then I have to put on all of the side skirts, because we are going to put the side skirts on here, and I was just looking at those. They are photo etch, so we'll be able to bend them up a little bit on the bottom and do some nice weathering on it. But before we can do that, we do have to put all of the brackets into place. And I say all, there's actually only 3 on each side, so not a very difficult thing to put on. Also too, it's kind of weird, I haven't seen this type of like armor plating over the top of the exhaust, it looks like. It's kind of an unusual way that they've done that one. So let me go ahead and get this glued onto place, and the 3 brackets that go on for the side skirts, as well as the side skirt rail. And then I believe after we've done that, we can go ahead and start working on the turret. As you can see here, we've started to put the side skirts into place. And like I was telling you earlier, they are made out of photo etch brass. And all we had to do is, once we cut them out, is just take our sanding stick and lightly just go over the edges to knock off that little burr. And I'll just show you how these kind of just snap on and then snap like that. So there's actually probably no reason really to glue them on at all. We'll go ahead and paint them off the vehicle. It'll also make painting a lot easier, not gluing them into place, because then we can paint all underneath there as well. Now I started to assemble the turret because it's pretty easy, and actually I did film a little bit of how the gun went together. Unfortunately, the film didn't work at all, so trust me, it went together real easy. It was only a matter of like maybe 15 parts, and they all fit together really well. I did have to put a tiny little bit of putty just on the seam where the front of the turret meets the actual hull, or excuse me, the rest of the turret. But that was very minor. You can see just a little touch of the white still there. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the cupola, and there is a little pin right here that matches up. And what I would recommend doing too is, before you put the top of the cupola in, is to mount that in there, and that way you will know the proper direction to put the cupola in. Almost glued this in place without thinking about that, and the doors would have went weird on it. So glue that in there first, then you'll be able to glue that in, and that way the doors will open up the proper way. So with that, we'll be able to go ahead and put the stowage bin on the side, or on the back, the doors on the side, and a few of the other little accessory pieces. And then we can go ahead and do just like we did on here, build the framework around it, and then put the side skirts for the turret on there as well. I'm going ahead and I'm putting on all of the side skirts right now. Now you may notice that there is a parting seam here, and there was two little burrs on top of the grab handles. I find that it's much easier to sand out all of that stuff once you glue it into place, especially these grab handles. If you glue the grab handles down, you can go over it with your sanding stick, knock that burr down, and not break them in half, because a lot of times you're trying to hold them with tweezers, and it is really difficult that you don't put any stress on it and then crack it. So like that little sanding line right, or that parting line, we can just go over it because it's nice and secure between a bunch of different things. Hit it with our sanding stick, and we can take the parting lines all out without snapping all those little delicate parts. Here is the mostly complete model built up. The tools and a few other little accessories are not on there yet. We also just went ahead and just dropped these into place because we want to paint these separately, but I wanted to just throw those on the back there to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. In fact, I'll pull those off right now to kind of give you a better view of the vehicle. And we've got all of our side skirts sanded up, ready to go. We can paint those separately. Next we're going to start creating our scratching and chipping effect on here. We're going to start out with the chips. We're using just a piece of torn off foam sponge and using our color, or chipping color, which I will put on the bottom of the screen right now. You're going to go ahead and start. And normally I would just use this by hand, but I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way of the camera so you guys can actually see it. A lot easier to do when there's not a camera in the way. And we want to put chips, scratches, everywhere we think that guys would be grabbing onto stuff and wearing the paint off. Now we're also going to run a bead of it down the bottom of scratches and chips on it too. And I'm going to do that off camera so I can actually get in there a little closer and see better what I'm doing. And then we'll show you how we do some of the scratches. So there was just a little excerpt of the weathering of this tank. If you want to see the full video, it's just 2 videos back from this one right here. I am just going ahead and putting all of the tools in place. We went and painted and weathered those separately. And I think it's going to add a nice little bit of detail to it, and that'll be our final thing. So we've just got a few more tools to do, and then we'll come back and give you a 360 final reveal. And here we are. Here is our completed model with all the weathering done, tools applied, decals, all that kind of stuff. And you can also maybe just see a little bit in the background, which we'll show you a little bit closer up in a minute, is the diorama that we created for it, which we created a video just a 1 or 2 before this one that will show how the making of that diorama goes together. And we'll also take some shots of it outside. They always look a lot better when they're in natural sunlight. Now the Takom kit is designed to go together very easily. There are not an abundance of parts that are going to bog you down. I thought the kit was well designed and it fit together very well. And here we are putting the model onto the diorama. It's supposed to take place in Kursk, and that's what the markings on the vehicle are all set up for. We'll also take this outside right now to show you what it looks like in natural sunlight. Give you a little bit of up above shot as well. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. That way you'll never miss a new video that comes out. Thank you again for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.